Alright boys, I'm going to show you how to mount the RS-9T full Yoshimura exhaust on the 22 Honda Grom. It comes with this tip here, this pipe, they just slip together, that's why it looks like one piece right now. The header here, it comes with this plug, but it's got a bung for a wideband sensor, so you can get your air fuel reading. This hook here, so you can mount these springs, helps hold it together while it's on the bike. And you got these little covers to prevent it from scratching. And then I got this right from the Honda dealer. It's just a gasket for the exhaust manifold. That's the part number. I'll leave it in the description too. Always get that. Anytime you're taking this off, always get a new gasket. And you just need a 12mm socket on a ratchet and a 12mm wrench for the mount over in the back. Alright, so something very important to note. You don't want to just take everything off completely. So I said bolts before, but these are actually two studs with two nuts. So what you want to do is you actually want to take them off maybe like halfway, maybe like 3/4 of the way. And kind of evenly too. So like I cracked that one loose, I'll go to the next one. Same with that one. Now again, I'm not going to take them off all the way. I'm going to take them off, we'll say 3/4 of the way. You'll see the front end start dropping. Of the header, that is. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's already kind of starting. So you want to do that so you have a little bit of play in it. So you're going to do that with all of them. You're basically going to loosen all of them until they're almost ready to come off, and then slowly take everything off and support it and drop it all as one piece. Otherwise it's going to fall, some can get damaged. You want to kind of do this as smooth as possible. Alright, so now I'm going to go to the back where this one, like I said, it's a bolt that goes through. There's a washer here and then just the nuts. So you actually need that 12mm wrench I was telling you about. I put that on here, and then let me see if I can hold this and put the ratchet on. Now this, you can fully take this nut off if you want. You can leave the bolt through to support it, take the nut off so that way you can just slide the bolt out when you're done. So I'm going to loosen that. Alright, let's see if that works. Alright. Alright, so I got that nut off. Alright, so now all I have to do is just push that bolt out. But I'm going to leave that there so it's hanging supported still. Alright, so now lastly, we have this bolt here. Remember, this is the last mounting bolt. Where is it? Right here. This is the one. So this is the last one. It's right in the middle. So what I'm going to do, where'd it go? I'm going to take this one all the way out. So remember, it's hanging on the front. I have those nuts ready to basically come right off. They're only like 1/4 way on. Alright. And then in the back, I have that bolt hanging through it. All I have to do is slide that right out. Alright, so remember, I have these two nuts here. They're barely on. I can hand thread these off. This one's completely out. Took that out already. And then this right here, just a bolt going through. As soon as I take the tension off that, I can just slide the bolt right out. So what I'm going to kind of do, I'm going to hold it up in the middle. I'm going to pull this bolt out. See how it's ready to kind of fall? And then I'm going to hold this up and support it. And I'm going to take these nuts out. Just let those fall. And then you don't want to rip on this because you don't want to tear up those studs. And then just let it down. And there you go. So now the exhaust is completely off. Alright, once you have everything off, now you can easily see the exhaust port. You want to make sure that the old gasket's not sitting in there, because if you put the new one on, it's not going to seat right and you're going to have a really bad leak. In the instructions from Yoshimura, it actually says reuse the gasket. I don't like doing that. I guess you can, but you definitely don't want to have two of them on there because it'll never sit right and you're definitely going to have a leak. You also want to make sure that these are clean as possible. You don't want any debris in there. That can cause a lot of serious problems. So make sure this is all as clean as possible and that the rest of the gasket's not in there still. Alright, so now what I like to do, some people like to mount the header, put that on, and then mount this piece and then slide them together while like on the bike. I don't like putting a lot of pressure onto the header where it's on the studs. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it together now. You just slide these together, kind of work it in. And a good way to know if it's lined up correctly, you'll see these. So you see these little like loops? These are gonna be lined up because you're actually gonna take this spring. Once everything's on the bike, you're gonna take this and it's gonna spread and you're gonna connect these two. That way it can absorb shocks when you hit bumps and it keeps it together while it's on the bike. Alright, so I just put a box, something under here to support the header part while I try to put the rear on. I'm going to put it on through here first. Again, only hand tight everything just so that way it holds, but still has a lot of play to it. So you still want it to be able to move around a lot. Let me see. So now put the bolt through here. Let the header rest on whatever you have under there. Like I said, I got that box. And just get this on for a few turns. Honestly, it's almost the less tight that nut is, the better, because you want as much play as possible so you can get this mounted up as good. Alright, so over here at the header where it meets the head, don't forget we have to put this gasket on. So basically what you want to do, you can even rest it on there, try to guide it. And take this flange, slide it up, and you want to be careful. Like, you still don't want to force anything, but it does need a little bit of influence to get in there. So, all right, there we go. Now take the nuts, and then when you put these nuts on, you want to kind of go back and forth. You don't want to torque them all the way down on one side, then go to the other. So I'm going to hand tight them. Alright, then I'm going to take the ratchet, and again, we're not going all the way on, but I do want it to sit on a little bit more. So I just went until it had a little bit of resistance. So now I got to push a little more. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to go to the next one, and you'll see it starts picking up the other side. Alright, so right now just snug them all up. Alright, that's good for right now. Alright, so now I'm going to go down here to this last mounting point. Remember, everything's still pretty loose. The header's on there pretty much, but there should still be some play in the exhaust. So you want to play with it until you get it as straight as possible on this. Thread it in a couple times. And once you get this on, I'm going to tighten this one all the way down. Now, it doesn't have to be too tight. I'm just going to keep going. Alright. Just give it a little snug. There you go. Alright, so that's on. Now, I'm going to go up to this one. Alright, I gotta get my wrench. Put the wrench on there. I'm going to try to hold the wrench in the camera at once. Bear with me here. Alright. That's all snugged up. Now I'm going to come back here. Now you want to make sure that these are, I think I saw 17 pounds is where you want this. Again, you're going to go back and forth. Don't torque one down all the way. And then the other one, you want to go till it's starting to give you a little bit of resistance and snug. Then go to the next one. Go back and forth until they're both really on there. Alright. Alright, that should be good. Yeah, that's good. So I read somewhere it was like 17 pounds. I do have a torque wrench. The first time I did this, I did it to 13 pounds. and then it felt like it was going to snap. So you want to light that. You can see it has a good seat. All right. So next thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to get these together. So this one I already did. A little spring, and then you put this little cover on there. If you can see it. So this one, see, they come like this. They have this little cover. And all you just do is just kind of work it. You see. Just be careful, you don't want to rip it. Alright, there you go. And I think that's to protect it, because these basically hold where the pipes slip together. You're going to put these around those little O's I showed you in the beginning. And I think this is in case it hits, that way it won't scratch it. So now I'll show you, you're going to use this tool. You use this one to kind of grab the hook and pull it onto the other part. I'll show you around. We'll do that part next. Alright, so right here, this loop here, and this one. It looks like you're going to take the smaller spring, hang it on one of them, and take this tool here, the one I said it came with earlier, hook it onto one of them, then you're going to want to pull. It's going to be tight. And try to pull it on the other side. And now it's going to hold it. It's going to be tight. The other side, I believe the middle pipe is the one that takes the longer one, and the shorter one's there. So now we're going to put the longer one on. Alright, so I'm going to hang it from one end. Again, take our tool and pull. Alright, there we go. And there you go. Alright, as a little added precaution, like I said, we got it all mounted up. We did everything. You want to like really snug it on. Like, it's not really like tight, but definitely beyond snug. Like I said, the first time I did this, I torqued it to about 13 foot-pounds. So it's kind of hard to read, but I'm going to do that. Put it up to 13. Now, I wouldn't say you don't have to do this, but if you're confident in how much you're tightening it, it's alright, but it's definitely important that you go back and forth and you don't torque it all the way down on one side and then the other. Alright, so now I have them both torqued to 13. What I might do is ride it around for like maybe 500 miles, maybe even like 250, a little less, and then recheck the torque after that. Alright, so a really important step that I feel like a lot of people overlook or may not know about is you want to actually take rubbing alcohol, like I'll use this one here, and you want to put it on a rag and clean the entire exhaust, like especially around like, you know, the end here where you have all the carbon fiber and everything. You want to make sure you get all your fingerprints off of that. Just make sure you get every little spot. I try to focus a little bit harder on like the carbon fiber areas, basically this entire tip here. Get the pipes, and you'll see Yoshimura actually tells you after about 500 miles the whole pipe itself will change color. It turns into like a darker bronze. That's totally normal. And then also, if you look, you can even kind of see with mine right here where it meets the head, it's actually almost like a purple. That's just because that's where it gets the hottest, so it's naturally going to discolor there. That's nothing to worry about. Again, it's just totally normal. So one last thing to take note of, when you have it running, you want to make sure that you don't feel anything blowing out from over here. That would mean that the gasket we put in isn't doing its job, whether maybe the one side got torqued down more than the other side too quickly and it's sitting lopsided, or maybe the gasket's doubled up. Whatever it could be, you want to make sure that's as good of a seal as you could possibly have. So check for that. It'll also be really loud more than likely, so it should be pretty obvious, but even a slight leak is too much of a leak. You want to make sure that's doing its job. So that's the full Yoshimura exhaust. I think it's definitely worth it. The stock exhaust, can't even hear it. I mean, it doesn't sound good at all. With this exhaust, you can actually hear what's going on, and it actually makes it a lot easier to ride, I think at least. I don't really notice any power gains. Some people say it does make a big difference. I mean, I put mine on at like 500 miles. So it did start feeling better, but that could have just been the break-in. But I think it's definitely worth it, especially going with the full one, so that way you have that bung over in the front. And it's just, I think it's like an extra $100. The slip-on is like $500. This is $600. I say just spend the extra money. I think it's definitely worth it.